Hello, my name is Victoria Antoine, and today we are going to discuss Chapter 4 of Professor Blake's novel, Making Sense, Nonsense, and No Sense of Race and Rules. I've broken it down into 3 parts. 1. The chapter explores what society deems as the natural interactions between individuals of different races and those of the same race. 2. It is filled with student opinion on the debate of interracial relationships. On one side, many believe that there is no racial issue and our society is a lot more diverse on a global scale, whereas on the other hand, individuals believe that we are continuing to self-segregate ourselves. And 3, along with the understanding of the unwritten rules about relationships. So first, I'd like to begin with the opening quote of the chapter by A. Philip Randolph. Men often hate each other because they fear each other. They fear each other because they do not know each other. They do not know each other because they cannot communicate. They cannot communicate because they are separated. In the contemporary USA, segregation laws have been demolished for years, yet the unwritten rules of racial laws are still prevalent in our everyday lives. There is a lack of communication between the races because we choose to separate. Take a look around a college campus or a public school cafeteria and observe the racial dynamics of the room. Or, for instance, our very own classroom on the first day of school, it was set up where most of the black students resided on one side and the white students were on the other, with no instruction to do so at all. Why does this happen? The college students that were interviewed tried to make sense of why we take part in self-segregating relationships. Some raise the idea that we can socialize with anyone from any race, but when it comes to our friendships, it's human nature to establish these relationships on common ground and common goals. Therefore, we gravitate to what we know best, and that is our own racial group. The neighborhood in which we reside and the socialization with your own racial group is another form of natural social segregation. Typically, people live with people that look like them. Therefore, relationships are formed based on proximity. Experiments held on a college campus indicated another possible reason for our societal choices. An event for group intersocialization was held on 3 separate occasions. Each time, only students of color attended. According to statistics from our surveys in the book, whites actually self-segregate the most. Some whites will avoid events on group socialization because they fear tension or a chance of being called a racist. This argument goes back to the fear component that Randolph spoke about. We stay in our ways because we fear the outcomes of the unknown. Personally, I believe that it's a comfort tactic that has become a crutch for our society, and it slows the progress in diminishing racism. This is problematic because by sticking to one racial group, you are neglecting others and preventing interracial relationships. Other races are becoming foreign entities and a topic of the unknown. Lack of knowledge about a particular racial group leads to fear and stereotypes because all the information about a particular race is left up to the media or unreliable sources. We must live through experience and interactions to make our own sense of race. First-hand experiences will build knowledge and clear up misconceptions between other races. The unwritten code that you must stay within your own race when forming relationships should come to an end. One student spoke of the unwritten code of race being like the unwritten code that the President of the United States needs to be a white male. It is not written anywhere in the Constitution, but it is just something that we do. It's important to acknowledge this point because in 2009, the United States had its first ever president of African American descent, and that unwritten law has been successfully broken. So now, I turn the discussion over to my classmates. Do you think that we are self-segregating ourselves purposely, We're just following a natural, unwritten law. And do you think that the way we currently socialize is a racial issue or not at all?